I worked as a private investigator for almost 4 years. Most people imagine the job is exciting. Car chases, hidden cameras, dangerous criminals. The reality was usually boring. I spent most of my time sitting in parked cars, watching people who had no idea they were being watched. But there was one case that still bothers me to this day. A case that made me quit the job entirely. It started when a woman named Rachel hired our agency. Rachel was in her early 30s and owned a successful marketing company. She wasn't wealthy enough to throw money around carelessly, which made it obvious how desperate she was when she walked into our office. She wanted us to investigate her fiancé, a man named Daniel. According to Rachel, Daniel had become distant over the previous 3 months. He would leave at strange hours, ignore her calls, and sometimes disappear for entire nights with no explanation. Whenever she questioned him, he always had an excuse. At first, she thought he was cheating. Then she started noticing stranger things. One night, she woke up at 3 a.m. and found Daniel standing beside their bedroom window staring outside. He wasn't looking at anything specific, just staring. When she asked what he was doing, he slowly turned around and claimed he had heard a noise. Another time she found mud on his shoes despite heavy rain not falling for weeks. Then she discovered several photographs hidden inside his garage. The pictures showed random houses, different neighborhoods, different families, children playing outside, people mowing lawns. Normal photographs, yet Daniel had no explanation for any of them. Rachel wanted answers, so my boss assigned the case to me. The surveillance began the next day. Daniel lived in a quiet suburban neighborhood about 40 minutes from my office. For the first 3 days, absolutely nothing happened. He went to work, came home, watched television, went to bed. I began thinking Rachel was simply paranoid. Then Friday arrived. At approximately 11:47 p.m., Daniel exited his house wearing dark clothing. He got into his truck and drove away. I followed. He traveled through several residential areas before eventually stopping near an old neighborhood on the edge of town. The area was mostly empty. Many homes were abandoned. Streetlights barely worked. Daniel parked and stepped out. Instead of approaching a house, he walked into a wooded area behind the neighborhood. That immediately caught my attention. I grabbed my camera and followed from a distance. The woods were unusually quiet. No insects, no birds, nothing. About 10 minutes later, I saw a faint light ahead. Daniel had reached a small clearing. What I saw next confused me completely. There were already 6 people standing there. Men and women, different ages, different appearances. All of them were silently facing the center of the clearing. Nobody was speaking. Nobody was moving. Daniel joined them. Then they simply stood there for nearly an hour, motionless, staring at the same point. I couldn't understand what I was looking at. It felt wrong, deeply wrong. Eventually, the group dispersed and left separately. I took photographs and returned to my vehicle. The following morning, I reported everything to my boss. Neither of us could explain it. Rachel was equally confused, but she wanted answers. So we continued. Over the next 2 weeks, I observed 3 additional gatherings, always in different locations, always late at night, always involving different people. The only constant was Daniel. One evening, I decided to investigate the clearing after everyone left. I waited until the group disappeared into the darkness before approaching. The center contained nothing except a rusted metal box partially buried underground. No people, no chair, no teenage boy, nothing. It was as if the gathering had never happened. Police searched the property for hours. No evidence was recovered, not even footprints. At that point, my boss wanted to drop the case. Something clearly wasn't right. Yet Rachel refused. She needed to know what Daniel was involved in. Against my better judgment, I agreed to continue. That decision nearly got me killed. 3 nights later, I returned home after surveillance. As I approached my apartment, I noticed an envelope attached to my door. There was no name, no address, only a photograph. The photograph showed me sitting inside my surveillance vehicle earlier that day. Someone had been watching me. On the back was a handwritten message. Stop looking. I immediately contacted my boss. He instructed me to notify authorities. But deep down I already knew it wouldn't matter. Whoever left that photograph wanted me frightened. And it worked. For the first time in my career, I felt genuine fear. The next week was quiet. Too quiet. No gatherings. No suspicious activity. Nothing. Then Rachel called me. She sounded terrified. She claimed Daniel had disappeared. Not temporarily. Completely. His vehicle was gone. His clothes were gone. Even family members couldn't reach him. He simply vanished. We filed a missing persons report. Days passed. Then weeks. No leads emerged. Eventually, police stopped actively investigating. Daniel became another unsolved disappearance. Rachel was devastated. The case officially ended. 6 months later, I received an email. There was no subject line. No text. Only an attachment. It was a photograph. The image showed Daniel standing among a group of people in a forest. The photograph appeared recent. Very recent. Everyone in the picture was staring directly into the camera, including Daniel. At the bottom of the image was a timestamp. 3 days earlier. The location was nearly 600 miles away. I immediately contacted authorities. They traced the email. It led nowhere. Burner accounts. Fake information. Dead ends. The same story over and over. A year later, I quit private investigation work entirely. Not because of long hours. Not because of stress. Because I never found answers. To this day, I still don't know who those people were. I don't know what happened in those gatherings. I don't know why that boy was tied to a chair. And I don't know why someone wanted me to stop looking. But sometimes, late at night, I think about that final photograph. 20 people standing in the darkness, all staring directly at the camera, as if they knew exactly who would eventually see the image. And every time I remember it, I wonder whether they were really looking at the photographer or looking at me.